But their story didn't end there.
How could there have been only one? And he's back in business.
Is the worst idea in history of bad ideas.
Part 2 is the final chapter in the violent history.
This time, it's personal.
On his first trip to Paris, Andy McDermott is looking for a little danger.
Andy, what you doing?
I'll show you guys a stunt you'll never top.
But tonight,
Andy, this is madness. You're gonna get yourself killed.
there's nothing more dangerous than falling for the wrong girl.
No, don't!
Talk about the woman of my dreams.
She's obviously whack. Kind of girl jumps off the Eiffel Tower has issues, man. Major issues.
You mustn't get involved.
It's much too dangerous, believe me. You must go before it's too late.
I was attacked by this big, wild dog.
You were bitten. You're already changing.
It was not a dog. It was a werewolf. And now you have become one too.
I'm not a wolf!
An American Werewolf in Paris.
Ow. Ow, ow, ow. Ow.
If you like Europe, Daredevil clubs, the Eiffel Tower, suicide note montages, concussions, balloon condoms, Club de la Lune, drinking va, zombie moms, Jim Morrison's grave, or specifically doing it on Jim Morrison's grave, getting punched through the mouth, bungee jumping, then you'll like the movie we're talking about this week. Wait, let me make sure I get this right. What is it?
It's an American Werewolf.
No Anne, right?
No,
Or
it isn't.
There is an Anne.
but just the movie itself,
Oh,
the title thing doesn't actually.
An American Werewolf
In Paris.
In Paris.
Paris.
Oh!
Yeah. Music by George Gershwin. No,
Yeah.
that's an American in Paris.
Welcome to Revenge of the Sequel, the podcast just about sequels. We're live and in person.
Yeah, this is weird. It's
Yeah.
weird every time we come back to doing this after not doing it for a while.
Season 8.
And COVID just still around. That's why.
Yeah.
It is.
We didn't expect him to be a recurring character, but you guys can't seem to get a handle on
And
it.
do you think that this podcast will outlive COVID? Because we have a head start of about 6 years.
I got COVID.
Well,
We're all gonna
no. But do you think that by the time this podcast hangs up its trousers, that COVID will be gone?
I don't know. I think at that point it might be.
It's too serious. This is too much of a bummer to talk about.
It's probably, yeah. This
Okay,
is kind of
never
like-
mind then.
Speculation. It's
This
going
is
to be
too
super
real.
COVID, but then in the future, mega COVID has taken over the world.
This is
and
escapist.
It's
so
running for praise.
Yeah,
for
no, you got a
president.
little too real there.
We'll forget that COVID is existing.
What? No, don't do that.
No, I'm
either.
saying for the sake of the pod for this moment.
Oh man, even then.
No, okay. Come on, guys. This is part of it. We're back. Welcome to another season, BT Dubs. We're excited to talk about sequels. But this is a very special premiere because it's part alongside with our Revenge of the Sequel Halloween month. And I'm calling it Revenge of the Sequel Happy Hallow Scream, The Lichen List, 2K22, The Changeling Hallinge Wolf Wednesdays. Oh, I didn't do that right.
The skinwalking.
The Changeling Challenge? Oh, that's what it meant. Whoops.
Well, I think some of it is also copywritten. The Hollow Scream thing.
Oh, really? Oh, from SeaWorld? Uh-oh.
Tillicum.
But what if we spell it with a
What was it
K?
called? Blackfish.
Oh, no.
Fuck SeaWorld.
I mean, that's a good Halloween movie. When did they make a sequel to that? We'll talk about it. Sequel to Blackfish? Because it's still happening, right?
It's almost Shark Week.
You would hope you don't get a sequel.
Why did we just talk about depressing stuff?
I don't know.
We just came, and then we came back together
to animal abuse.
Yeah.
But my name is Emmanuel.
Hey, I'm Andrew.
What's up? It's John.
Are you excited to be back? Are you excited for Halloween?
I'm actually, I don't know. I am very excited for our Halloween movies of Revenge of the Sequel. I'm going to let Drew express his excitement.
I was telling someone at work, a friend of the pod, Rob,
Friend of the pod, Rob. That's a good shirt. That's a shirt.
I was telling Handsome Rob.
That's the next Delphin Pod shirt. Friend of the pod,
just
Rob.
for Rob.
That
Just for him.
that was voicing my frustration because John was like, "We're gonna do Werewolf Month," and I was like, "Damn, there's not a bunch of good werewolf sequels." And I was like, the only way he would have suggested it is if he already had 4 in the can, already thought out of.
Yeah.
And every single suggestion sucked, and I was real mad.
Wait, hold on.
I was like, "Damn it, I hate watching bad movies."
Are we tied? Can you? I don't even know the list. Can you go through the list, or should we wait
No,
on that? Because we might change. It may change.
Also, I don't even think we know it. I think we.
That's why I was like, I don't
it.
remember it.
You
Kinda
named
know
this.
it.
You
Yeah,
had
you
named
do.
this whole thing, and we only have one werewolf movie.
I kind of, yeah, I know if we don't get to the other ones, but I kind of know more or less
American.
what the list is.
Okay.
It's
if you guys want
a
to say it.
London werewolf in America.
Wait,
and-
just different countries and
Yeah,
different
like
werewolves.
A French werewolf in London.
It's the world's worst nightmare, which is just different Americans in other countries and as
Jeez,
werewolves.
yes, it is a horror story. Yeah, these poor countries. We just keep bringing our werewolves
Our
in.
lycanthropy.
And I just gotta ask, so this entire month, our premiere month, we're deciding to, oh my gosh, can you believe, like, if it's a full moon this month, I'm gonna lose my
shit.
my wolf shit.
And then you're gonna gain your fur.
Yeah, this whole month we're doing werewolf sequels, which I didn't think was a subgenre that existed, but it definitely exists, and I'm not sure right now what those movies are.
Well, we're doing Twilight 2, Twilight 3.
That's what I was
and
asking.
Twilight
I was like,
4.
are we doing Twilight? That's maybe
To
the
be honest,
highest
hey,
grossing werewolf movie ever.
We can call an audible live on the air because it's the best part of being live.
Yeah. Live to tape, yes.
We could do Harry Potter.
There is
Oh,
a
you're
werewolf
right.
in
Wouldn't that
Harry
be cool?
Potter.
That would be a good movie, refreshing because
Yeah.
the other ones suck.
And this is off the dome. We're not even like
I know, yeah.
writing
That's
this
not
we
even
didn't-
the real list.
We didn't have
Yeah,
to Google
it's
werewolf
definitely not.
movie.
Yeah, John hasn't even given us the list yet. I swear to God, I don't know. But
Yeah.
usually I know that sequels suck.
Yeah. I mean,
This is cool. This is like a throwback to one of the early seasons of Revenge of the Sequel where we watched these movies and probably no one will download and listen. But there's probably some fans.
This one sucks.
There's some fans probably towards the movies that I've picked.
That's why we need to bring
Like,
Harry Potter
definitely.
into the mix.
No, so like you want me to name it or do you want to
Yeah,
just
go
be
ahead, sure,
surprised?
yeah, yeah.
So we're doing.
No, I don't want to be surprised on
these
the day of
are-
record. Be like, oh, I didn't watch that, John.
Like fucking hell. So we're kicking off this season with this Halloween month is a werewolf month. So we have American
Please use
Werewolf.
the full title from memory.
Shit, I from
I know,
memory.
it was a tongue twister.
Okay.
Um,
I think he got it wrong when he said it.
I
too.
did. I didn't even write it right myself.
So we have we're kicking off with American Werewolf in Paris. Because we're starting with that right now, I'm assuming we're actually starting with this, but the rest
Yeah.
of them might vary depending on when we record them or when we have access to them. We also is Ginger Snaps 2, Unleashed, very popular Canadian werewolf movie, cult hit, cult favorite. The Howling 3, the second sequel to The Howling.
I've heard of The Howling.
Why can't we do Howling 2?
I guess we can.
It's just because like I told John this.
Sure, you want to watch multiple?
Well, no, I was telling him that like the further you go down in the countdown, it's like watching the Howling 2 and the
yeah,
Howling 8.
yeah.
The Howling 2 is probably better. Howling 8 probably
Or-
sucks balls.
Yeah, you don't jump to Leprechaun in space.
And so I was like, why we skipped Howling
What?
2? Can we
Like,
do Howling 2?
But Jason X is more interesting than like Friday the 13th part
I don't
4
know. Is that the
so
one where
Ginger
he fights
Snaps 2, The
Busta
Howling
Rhymes?
3.
or 2,
Or
I guess.
2.
In this, yeah.
Or both.
No.
a Howling combo.
Are we doing a werewolf year?
And then we kick it. We ended off with Underworld: Rise of the Lycans.
Okay, that counts.
So we can replace one of those with Harry Potter, or do you want to just do Harry Potter like all of it? Like we can do Harry Potter by itself later.
wizard.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
well,
7,
that, you know what I'm thinking though? Yeah, if we keep that in the bank, whenever friend of the pod J.K. Rowling decides,
exactly.
I'm just
Damn,
kidding.
you're
no.
right.
But when I mean,
When she decides to retire, we
You're
can
right.
do
Fuck that bitch.
no, well, I mean, when she retires or when new ones come out, because guess what? New ones are gonna come out. Like regardless of what's going on, then
Oh,
we
okay,
can
I was
maybe
like-
do a whatever that. We have done Fantastic Beasts, haven't we?
We have. I think.
feel like
Yeah,
we have.
We have the.
That's
I
not
think we did
fair.
the
Why are we
first
talking
one.
about Fantastic Beasts and not the Harry Potter movies? That's wild.
Yeah, but anyway, those would be the 4 werewolf movies.
And
of
guys, I'm scared.
Halloween.
Because if they're worse than this, God dang.
I mean, werewolves are cool. I don't want to. I was gonna ask y'all how you feel about werewolves, but they're not real, so there's
Maybe for all we know.
Yeah.
People
I
say
guess
that
we could-
Sasquatches roaming the earth. What's the other one? Bigfoot?
Hairy men, just like are equivalent to
The
werewolves.
chupacabra, kind of a sort of a werewolf a
Yeah.
little bit.
I mean,
It's like a big dog.
It's an interesting, I guess, subgenre because it seems like a monster that people go back to often. I mean, you think of,
sort of.
like Universal Monsters
Yeah,
has the Wolfman,
Wolfman, yeah.
The Wolfman.
and I'm sure werewolves have been around forever in lore.
Mm-hmm.
Beowulf, close to werewolf in
Beowulf,
title.
man.
I think you just named it.
No. Look it up. Beowulf is wolf.
I'm sure this was probably could have been done by a simple Google search, but like werewolves, yeah, go back like what, thousands of years or something, or maybe like hundreds of years. Like it's like a
I think it was
like medieval lore, like basically, or no?
in some sort of sacred religious text. I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Lycanthropes.
Yeah, that's what
Lycanthropy.
like lycanthropy.
I mean, yeah, definitely centuries years old. It just makes sense that it's something that the entertainment industry, I guess, returns to because it's royalty free. It's been 800,000 years.
Yeah, you can't copyright a fucking werewolf. Yeah.
Or Beowulf. We could shoot a Beowulf movie. That's been around for too long.
Yeah, or the Iliad, or just like all this other stuff.
And honestly, in 3 years, Mickey Mouse. I mean, that'll be there too. But I'm interested. Any I guess since this is like our first one, any hopes for the werewolf franchises we're about to visit?
This came out of me just watching the Ginger Slaps.
American Dad. This guy's speaking my language.
Jesus.
Slapping.
Out of like discovering the Ginger Snaps like trilogy and how enjoyable that was, I was kind of thinking that we don't have enough good werewolf movies. I don't know. I could be wrong. Like, whoever's listening in, they want to throw me some suggestions.
Just the Wolfman.
Yeah.
But
the American Werewolf.
The first one.
American Werewolf in London is like probably my favorite werewolf movie, and the only one that I've seen that's actually like really, really good. I think the first
Van
Howling.
Helsing?
I like the first Howling movie. That's actually not a bad werewolf movie. And then when I saw like Ginger Snaps, the first one, I was like, whoa, this is a really good. I mean, it's kind of very angsty, I guess, when it comes, and like very indie Canadian horror movie making, but still a very enjoyable werewolf movie. And I guess I just kind of wanted to explore some werewolves because I guess they're not as popular. You don't have as many good werewolf movies as you do vampire movies, I guess.
Yeah, vampires are very. I mean, let's be honest. They're just sexy. Like they're still humans. Yeah. They don't turn into something gross, and
they're more on the seductive side as opposed to werewolves. Werewolves, there's a lot of themes of like animalistic, like you just raw dogging or something like
literally, quite literally, raw dogs.
He's like, you gotta wait to pull out because you gotta wait for it to shrink.
Oh my god!
But so like I get
Red Rocket, baby.
Oh my god!
The more like I guess like accessible appeal of vampires when it comes to stuff, or zombies. Everyone loves like zombies and
zombies
stuff.
Are a big thing.
But you don't see a whole lot of cool werewolf stuff other than
what we do in the shadows.
Or
that's what I was saying. Like there's a nice resurgence in the comedy indie world. Werewolf Within was pretty good.
Oh, yeah,
Thunder Road, the guy who made that just made a werewolf. I forgot what it's called. Made a werewolf movie. He didn't make a werewolf. He created one in the lab. So, but I think that's like just the cycle. There hasn't really been giant studio werewolf movies like they were, I guess even just a decade ago.
Yeah.
But I mean, apart from of course Twilight Saga, I guess that counts.
I told John that I'm surprised A24 hasn't done something real like simple, like it doesn't explain where it came from or anything like that, but it's like isolated cabin in the woods, and that's where the werewolf lives, so he never has to go far because he can hunt around there, and then some group gets lost, Blair Witch style, and they get picked off by the werewolf, and never really tells you what it is or whatever. I'm surprised that something like that hasn't happened. But yeah, it is very interesting to think of because the concept has been around for so long. You see it, I'm sure more well done in video games probably.
Yeah, this is all being said. I mean, I don't go out and actually seek out werewolf. That's why I probably
You're not
should.
hunting werewolf movies?
Werewolf movies. So again, there could be some gems out there that I haven't seen, but as far as the ones that I've seen or just heard of. I forgot to mention. I guess it's not a sequel, but
that you're a werewolf.
One of the best werewolf movies I've seen technically is Dog Soldiers. That's a low budget.
Yeah, that was in the 2000s,
That's
right?
a good
so,
one.
Yeah, that's
that's a pretty.
That's
good
actually
one,
2 decades old by now.
Yeah.
So,
it's like 2002 or something like that. But that's also a really good I think it's on the Sci-Fi Channel, but it's pretty solid.
Yeah. And I guess when we're talking about this genre, the best, at least. I think it's one of the best. It's American Werewolf in London, the 1981 John Landis movie. But it is maybe one of the more formative werewolf movies, partially because of the effects. Like they kind of created a new look for what a werewolf was.
The horror comedy, the tone was really kind of like I don't know if it was the first horror comedy, but I know it was the first one that kind of nailed the tone. Like
I feel like we talked about this.
We might have.
Maybe we might have not have recorded a podcast on it, but we. Yeah, that's like, isn't that one of your favorite movies?
Yeah. American Werewolf in London is one of my favorite movies of all time, and it's just because of the way how fun the movie really is. You know, regardless of y'all were giving me looks for the director.
Your favorite director, yeah.
But like the movie itself is really well made and has like a really cool. There's something really goofy about it, but also something that's really grounded when it comes to the emotional moments or even the horror moments. The horror moments are still super effective. And the mystery, surrounding the entire movie, like you don't ever get like a giant explanation other than just like, some comedic exposition from
there's
like,
a mysterious town that kind of knows.
Yeah, that kind of knows, but not really. Mm-hmm. And then no one really knows what's actually happening with the character, which I think is cool. And the dude is just kind of like being not chill about the whole thing, but sort of, because like there's really nothing he can do. I think it's just a great movie. I mean, besides the special effects in it, I think the fact that you don't see the wolf a lot is really effective, and the fact that and all the music choices are pretty cool. So
and the ending is kind of a gut punch ending. Like it's
gut punch, and that's it. Like you're just
like, yeah. And then I feel like that we're about to talk about the sequel. This sequel's kind of like that in a gut punch in a different way, kind of ending.
More like a nut punch.
A nut punch, yeah, a little lower from your gut. Movie. But yeah, and that movie won the first Oscar for makeup effects. So I think that when we're talking about An American Werewolf in Paris, it is a sequel that is almost 2 decades after the first one came out, a 1997 film by Anthony Waller, starring Tom Everett Scott, Julie Delpy, Vince Villouf, Julie Bowen. A young Julie Bowen is in this from Modern Family. Yeah. It's a pretty interesting movie. It's about tourists, again, that travel to Paris, a different European town, who I would say uncover a much broader and more robust werewolf colony than I think anything the first one even tried to attempt, but it still kind of touches a lot of the tones of the first film. And
there was no lore in the first one. There's like an actual
there's like almost world building,
like a world building in this one.
Which is but I guess we'll talk about the movie. Andrew, what'd you think about An American Werewolf in Paris?
I feel like this is gonna be brief for Drew.
Yeah, it sucked. John, go ahead. I'm just kidding. No, it was an experience for sure. It's hard to associate it with the first one because of how far it truly falls.
The cast is crazy. Like the leads are like good actors. Like the leads.
Big
of
TV.
The movie. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm talking everything from like cheesy effects to editing choices that I wouldn't have made to probably
dialogue.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. Even some of it hasn't aged as well. It probably is a little bit more problematic than it was at the time.
Yeah.
But no, that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, we'll dive into some of these specific sequences.
Is there specifics?
I mean,
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, there are.
I think I just summed it up. I think we can wrap this baby up. Maybe let's get on to this Thor one.
You broke the veil. We don't record 2 at a time. John, what did you think about American Werewolf in Paris?
I had never. So, American Werewolf in Paris. I've known about this movie since I was a kid
because he likes the song.
Yeah, there's a 99 Kiss song that plays.
They don't know who a 99 Kiss is, John.
Yeah, that's very local and very specific.
For those of you that still listen to the radio.
And also, you have to explain what the radio is, too. These people listen to podcasts, right. John. They're cool.
What station is that on Spotify? I don't know. I'm making myself sound like a dad.
I know. What cassette do I put in first?
So I had known about this movie since I was a kid. I had remember like when it came out, like my dad was like, "Oh, there's one in London." That's the one that I've seen, and always knowing about the franchise until I ended up watching them, like many years later. I'd never kind of seen the entire movie. I knew that Julie Delpy and right, that's her name, and Tom Everett Scott were in it.
Oscar nominated twice.
Tom Everett Scott?
No, Delpy.
Delpy for the before movies.
The the Linklater masterpieces. To be honest with you.
Linklater, yeah, exactly. And Tom Everett Scott was in That Thing You Do, which is. I think that's the Tom Hanks directed movie or something. But I think, I'm not sure. Could be wrong there. Should probably look that up or confirm, nod. Anyway, but
yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. And those 2 great movies and stuff. And for them to sign on to like an American Werewolf sequel was wild. Having seen the movie for the first time, it's I don't know how to say it, but other than like, cash grab laziness, like it's trying to obviously be like the creature feature of the week or something in this case, in a budget, and, kind of riding off the coattails of what the original concept was. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something redeeming. I think it gets, once the werewolves actually start coming out, it's a little bit more entertaining than I guess the beginning part of the movie is, but it's for the most part just kind of pretty disappointing. It's I think even the way the characters talk, they're not even giving each other room to like. It's like the characters don't give each other space to comprehend what they said to each other.
You can tell they're reading a script.
Yeah, they're really reading a script, and they're not actually even pausing to for reaction time.
Yeah, and I'm just reading this now, but across this almost 2 decades, 12 writers.
12 writers on the screenplay. I read that. Yeah,
that's a lot of people, and even to the fact where they went into arbitration because they didn't know what elements came from where and who ended up with the final.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where you can tell it's a mess, from behind the scenes to even what ends up on screen, because what's on screen is kind of not something about it feels cheap, even though I don't doubt that they probably filmed in Paris.
Yeah.
So sure. But there's something just very, very even really low budget about it, even for its time. I feel like this is a year when Titanic came out. The Lost World, and I know those are all big budget films and stuff.
Men in Black.
I know.
But I know those are all big budget films and stuff. But you see the way I guess some companies handled effects back then, and then others the way others handled it. And I don't think this one, I don't think a whole lot of effort. I don't know. I don't want to say that. That seems kind of mean. But it's just a weird experience. It's obviously doesn't match up to the first one. But there are some it's intriguing to watch. It's not exactly boring, I guess. So.
Yeah, and I think that's when we talk about the behind the scenes stuff, it partially informs I think why the dialogue feels so weird, because some of these lines were legit written in the 80s, and it seems like they stayed. And this movie came out in 97,
yeah.
And I think also there's something that feels kind of set in its time, because we've got wild, I would say maybe computer generated test footage or something in this movie. There's
previs or something.
There's a soundtrack that was clearly added to kind of push as a separate CD release or something that's in the movie too. There's just a lot of stuff in it. And then it's odd to say about this movie, but apart from maybe the Eiffel Tower, this movie doesn't even feel set in Paris at all. Does that make sense? Everyone, of course, speaks English, which isn't a huge deal, but there's not a lot of French stuff in this movie, at all. Apart from, of course,
from accents.
Yeah, accents, and then the Eiffel Tower is sometimes in the background, but
it's not even heavily guarded apparently, because you could just make it up there at night.
Yeah, and it's one of the wild things too is the premise of the movie is these people, I guess, who travel the world giving each other points.
It's Point Break, I guess, these extreme sports people.
Yeah, which I would be surprised if Point Break maybe came out around this time or something, if that was kind of informing.
That was probably earlier.
And they're scoring chicks and doing daredevil stunts, get you points.
Classic cool people. There was even a scene where they tried to make him dress cool, and just to and it was awful. It was so cringy. Not because, of course, it age is weird, but it's just the way I guess we thought people had to act to be attractive was insane.
Even this underground party, it's playing in the background right now, but the first underground party that they come to is just
kind of reminded me of Blade a little, right?
It's okay,
but it's just just a tunnel, a warehouse room. It's just how does nobody suspect anything?
I remember when they gave out the flyer in there, I told John, I was I would have already suspect that they were fucking werewolves.
Yeah, they're bringing hobos in. I was okay, this isn't good. We should see if anyone walks out of this place. But the movie, I will say, is still pretty, I think, experimental. I think that's the director who made, I think, some really, really low budget stuff. And when you're making low budget, all you have is the camera. So the camera does some really interesting stuff in this. We've got some POV shots, which is which is neat. It does do a lot of I would say really fast things with the camera, which I thought was pretty cool, and made me feel like there was a person making the movie. But the rest of it is just so wild. There's the element of, I believe, let's wait a minute. So in the basement, there's someone finding the cure for it, right? For lichens?
I don't know. I kind of missed that.
That was her,
The guy with no legs?
That was her adopted
Her
father
stepdad.
from the beginning. You
Yes.
remember the
Yeah,
one that
yeah,
was
yeah,
running
yeah.
away?
Who was chased. Mhm.
And so, he
While
was-
everyone in
he
the
was try-
concert didn't hear shit.
He was trying to give her a depressant to get her to cure her, but it did the opposite. It
her
transformed her
stronger.
right, like on the spot without the full moon.
And she killed her mom.
And she killed her mom, which is apparently like it's supposed to be a tie to the first one, loosely because the girl in the first one was a nurse.
Oh.
I think, yeah.
And then the guy's her stepdad. And so her real dad probably was
Got
the,
it
was
from
the
one of
real
them.
werewolf, and that's why she was a werewolf, probably. But
yeah.
again, it's like loosely connected. It doesn't tell
Yeah.
you shit, or it doesn't do anything like that.
A wild element to throw in there.
And they
That
start-
this is curable. Now it's like a hard sci-fi movie.
And that's it. Like they start to weaponize this fucking serum at the end, and
Yeah.
like we don't need no full moon. Like we can do it
Yeah.
in the sun, bitch.
Yeah, that's
Daywalker.
That's some underworld shit, actually. Don't they try to do that? Like they're just like they inject themselves to try to transform whatever. Yeah.
It kind of grounds it, I guess, in like some pseudoscience, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
That the first American Werewolf didn't even care about. Like
It was just all. It's strictly just like this is something supernatural that happened, and then
Yeah.
they're just dealing with the consequences of that.
And this one suffers from that like thing that we usually see nowadays, like with the Jurassic Park and the Jurassic World movies, where it's like, man, you lost the practical effect, and that's what made the original special.
Yeah.
And so in this one, it moves to the '90s CGI.
Yeah.
That's like real rough.
And I will. There are like hints of practical stuff, which
Yeah,
looked
it's-
cool, but then
yeah.
it immediately is taken over. There was a scene I think where the girl, I don't know what the character's name is. She plays, I
Julie
can't even say it,
Delpy, yeah,
Seraphine.
yeah.
Seraphine,
Seraphine, yeah.
But Seraphine's neck like extends, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that looks cool. But then
CG.
CG.
Yeah.
Right
Or
after.
the legs pop back at one point.
That classic stuff still, I think, works.
That might still be CG, but that was still kind of effective because
Yeah.
it was like a slow.
That girl from Happy Gilmore, where she's trying to whistle and the blood pops out in her eyeball.
That was
pops
fun.
out,
Yeah,
and-
all that stuff seemed practical.
Yeah.
and part of the comedy style. And I mean, Julie Bowen, who is that girl, plays one of the undead, and that's I think
The
something
undead ghost.
that's pretty unique to an American Werewolf, right? The
That's
fact
from
that
the first one.
the people
That's
you
the thing,
kill.
yeah.
I think that's fun.
I
like,
do think
it's
that's
a
fun. I think
cool
it,
element.
It was done better in the first movie, obviously, but
Yeah.
I do like that they brought that back this time around, and it kind of added to like that
Yeah.
very dark.
It's one of the
humor.
only connecting
things, yeah. from
parts, but it's fun to have like you going through this change and you seeing the people you've killed. This one does it a lot more, I will say, and there's even a point in the morgue where somebody pops out of a drawer to tell
Yeah.
him to quiet down or something, and then I was like, wait, did he kill that guy, or is she just like seeing people now?
Yeah, it becomes like the fucking frighteners like in
Yeah.
the middle of it. All the ghosts are talking, and
And I will say this about the first one: the scariest scene for me was actually when he's in the movie theater and it's full of the undead people, more than any of the werewolf stuff. That was the part that freaked me out the most. So
In the first
I
one,
like
yeah.
that there's a lot of undead stuff in this, but I mean, this is just a wild movie. We haven't even talked about the bad guy werewolf who has like I guess a gang that he wants to rise up,
Yeah,
or
like some
something.
sort of were army.
A were army.
I think that the energy to this is just. I think what we said is really stylistic or experimental. The energy is just very fast. Like it almost seems like I was texting you that feels like every character is like almost on cocaine
it's
or
like
something.
a tight 1 hour and 20 minutes.
But like even Julie Bowen's character when she shows up, she is so like off the wall. It's
She's
just
having
like
a good time, and our main dude is like I guess triggered by her African print skirt or something. Remember that?
Yeah,
Like,
it's a super animalistic scene, but like even her energy is like flying. It's like
Yeah.
1,000 miles an hour, and so like everything is like that in this movie. Like you put your head down or go look somewhere else, look at your phone or
Yeah.
something, and then like you're gonna miss like a plot
Yeah.
point. Or
Yeah,
some
to be honest,
exposition.
I said that like when she tries to whistle and the blood pops out and her eyeball pops out. I think John missed it because he looked down at his phone for like 1 second.
Yeah, and then he steals a car, and then
Yep,
it gets
yep, I
to
know.
something kind of crazy. And then Julie Bowen, they do that Jim Morrison, which is a very real thing. People try to have sex around his grave that now they have like surveillance and stuff.
Yeah, they just
which I don't
They
get.
just film it and then they put it on Pornhub.
I don't know. I don't know if he wanted that. I got to look into it, but I know it's a problem where they like are now saying like try to keep people from being there. Stop doing it on
Jim Morrison. Yeah,
get out. All right. Well, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna play a quick game, and then we'll come back and talk about more of this.
What happened to the dude with the cross?
I don't remember.
He escaped. Remember,
He escaped and he just
at the
he just
end,
lived.
at the end,
Who
he's the
was
best
on the
man.
cross?
Oh, he is with the best man. At the
He
very
gives him
end.
the ring.
You're
again.
fucking right.
He gives him
Saves
the
his
ring.
life again.
I was just
yeah.
wondering because he
he
ran out of
doesn't.
the.
Remember, he misses the rope this time, and then
It doesn't matter.
They're hugging. Remember, so her
This is
rope's
a-
attached, and then
Yeah.
This is a random plot point for listeners. We haven't been talking about the plot because there's really Yeah,
I think we're halfway done. Like I think we talked about it a lot.
For sure.
A guy runs out with a cross on his back, and a dude does the sign of the cross. Like when he sees him
starts to
running out.
pray.
What is the natural?
know
Isn't it a
what happened to him.
wait? A silver bullet kills werewolves, right?
It's
I
supposed to be.
guess
And
so,
to be
but-
honest, we looked this up, and I think a silver bullet was also for vampires as well at one point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's just
Was
like.
But it
silver.
is a werewolf. Yes.
Okay, because I was wondering when or if that element would be included, because it seems like we're just running away from werewolves the whole movie. And I guess only werewolves can kill werewolves, or eating the heart of a werewolf.
Here, remember they get shot to death. That happens at the beginning of the first one. The werewolf attacks him, and then they shoot him, and he looks next to him, and he's
I think
dead.
they make fun of silver bullets at some point in the first one too.
okay.
Like I think there's a dialogue. He's like, "Do I need a silver bullet?" He's like,
Wait, was I
"That's not the
totally
movies."
making that up, or is there a part of this where you have to eat the heart of who turned you, or
So
something?
you have
What
to
does that
eat
do?
the heart of the person that turned you, and that'll cure you from being a werewolf.
And everyone else will also be cured, or no?
No.
It's just you.
When you kill the werewolf that kill those zombies.
Yeah.
If you kill the werewolf that killed
It
them,
releases
they disappears.
them.
Yeah, and so that's the only thing. But yeah, if you wanted to get cured, you have to kill the person that killed that turned you, and then eat their heart.
Okay, cool.
It's fucking weird.
Yeah, that's
Well,
like
now we know the rules.
That's some
okay?
extra lore that someone probably threw in one of the script drafts or something.
Yeah.
Like that was probably revolved around that shit.
And it does. I think the most what is structured to be the most melodramatic moment is when I don't. Let's say Seraphine and Scott. I should use the character's name. No, sorry, Seraphine and Andy. And Seraphine is asking Andy to kill her, and he doesn't because he thinks he could save her. That's I think like supposed to be
the
big
dramatic moment,
turning moment.
It's
Yeah.
like with the little ass knife. I was like, she just got shot 10 times.
I mean, that's pretty hardcore. I'd be like, kill me, please. But then, they go down. There's a train. it
it
kinda
keeps
wild.
going a little bit.
Well, we're going to play a game now called Werewolf. W-H-E-R-E. Wolf. So I guess, do you have your phone, Drew? Grab your cellular device and you will text me the answers, and I will keep track on my phone or on my computer the points. This is a game where we're going to talk.
We're texting you?
Yeah, you'll text me the answer that you think, and then I'll keep track. Wolves have been around forever. I guess since, let's see, if this is correct, whales came out of the ocean and became wolves. Is that right? Or is it opposite? Wolves went into the ocean and became
became
orcas.
whales. Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah.
All right, whatever.
Everyone knows that fish evolved from wolves.
Sorry.
Baby.
None of that matters because this is instead a trivia game about the acclaimed TV producer Dick Wolf, the creator of Law & Order and the Chicagoverse.
Dick Wolfer.
I'm going to let that hang. Okay. Do y'all watch Law & Order? Are you Dick Wolf fans?
No. I know of Law and Order, and I've seen a couple of episodes throughout my entire.
I know of Dicks, and I know of Wolves.
Never together, though. Okay. But everyone listening, if you're a fan of Dick Wolf, which I know you all are, I'm actually, maybe it'll come up later. It will. It's insane how many people watch his stuff. I can't even,
That's why he keeps getting shows.
It's
baby.
more than anything that we watch combined audience-wise. I was like, what? Are there really that many people that watch TV? Wow, but I guess there is. Okay, here's the first one. How many Emmys has Dick Wolf won?
Jesus Christ.
Price is Right rules. Closest without going over. How many Emmys has Dick Wolf won?
Mr. Wolf.
And let's see. Andrew guessed 6. John guessed 30. Wow. Jeez. None of you get a point because Dick Wolf has only won 2 Emmys for Outstanding Drama in 1990 for Law & Order. And then that's the only Law & Order Emmy he won. He won another one for Best TV Movie for Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee in 2007. He's been nominated 14 times. Okay. The next question. Dick Wolf. Oh, I don't want to ask that one. That one's bad. Okay, here we go. Dick Wolf wrote on the staff, one of his first jobs, he wrote on the staff of this 80s new wave TV series produced by Michael Mann. This is
I miss.
That's almost.
I feel like
very, very Dick Wolfish.
But here's what I'll say. I feel like this is. If our listeners are under the age of, they'll be like, "Who's Michael Mann?"
I don't even know if they know what American Werewolf in Paris is. If they're
you both get the point because it's Miami Vice.
Oh shit! Yeah. I thought I fucked it up.
They also popularized the fashion of a T-shirt under an Armani jacket. Okay, here's the next one.
Yeah.
How many noises are combined to create the dun-dun sound in Law & Order? That sound, I'm gonna have to edit it in if I have to. But there's a sound in Law and Order.
Bong.
Yeah. How many noises are edited into that sound?
Yeah, bing bong.
Bing bong, bing bong, ding dong. Dun 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 dun. That's like the theme song. That's not the one I'm even talking about.
You had like a doorbell.
Yeah.
And then started off.
Let's see. So closest without going over. Andrew, you get the point. Andrew guessed 4.
John, you got COVID or what?
John
No.
guessed 8. The answer is 7.
I had a cigarette earlier.
So John, you just went over, but Andrew, get the point. 7 noises are in that dun dun
Fuck.
sound.
I had 8.
And this is wild, and I don't understand this, but includes the sound of 500 Japanese men walking across a hardwood floor. Why did they have to put Japanese in there? That's interesting, but that's mixed in, which is really interesting. Yeah, if anyone wants to know what that sounds like, watch Law and Order. Here's the next one. What year did Law and Order premiere?
Oh my god.
What year did Law and Order, the OG
So is this
Law
like
and Order?
Price is Right? It's like it makes no sense.
I guess we can do no. Let's not do that because someone could just do year 1. I would say if someone doesn't get it on the dot, you don't get the point. You got to get it on the dot.
I don't know this.
You don't want to guess?
No. I already guessed.
None of you got the point, but John, you got really close. It was 1990.
Fuck.
Oh, I said 96.
I said 89.
Actor George D'Souza was cast opposite Chris Noth. Oh, he's canceled too, right?
Yeah.
As the lead detective in the series, but left after the first season because of his long commute to New York City from what other city? So he quit because the commute was too long from what city to New York to film? George I'm going to spell it for listeners. Dzunundza.
Just so you know why I'm having trouble.
Yeah. George D'Souza. And actually, if you look at this, he really missed out on a massive paycheck because after season 1, he was like, no, too far.
I just texted somebody else the answer.
You just texted someone a city and they're like, are we going? Are we drop everything? Get to the airport. I've been taken.
I'm fucking dying. This is fucking great.
That's the danger of this game, I would have to say. So, Andrew, you guessed New Jersey. John, you guessed Chicago. The correct answer is Los Angeles. He had to commute from Los Angeles to New York. So that's why.
That's a giant commute. Yeah,
long commute. He also quit because he didn't realize that the show wasn't about his character as the main character.
Oh, wow.
He was like, this is an ensemble movie. I'm out of here. But yeah, Chris Noth, I think, is still... Oh, wait, never mind. He doesn't do anything anymore.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, cool. Look it up if you don't know why. Which Law and Order spin-off series surpassed the original as the longest-running scripted primetime drama of all time? There's a lot of spin-offs to Law and Order. One of them is now the longest-running scripted primetime drama of all time.
It's one Law and Order.
What?
What was the question again? Sorry.
What spin-off of Law and Order surpassed the original as the longest-running scripted primetime drama of all time? Man, that question is a mouthful. You didn't watch Law and Order as kids even?
Yes.
I just
that's
realized.
all I knew it
I just
from.
realized that I watched some messed up Law and Order as kids. I bet you both got this one right. Yeah, you both get it because it's Law and Order SVU. But I'm realizing now that one is that's the one kids shouldn't watch. But that's the one I watched.
Everyone watches that one for some reason. Yeah, I think that's the one isn't that the one that's most critically acclaimed?
I think so. Yeah, I think for all the actors who are in it, who now I guess get paid bonkers residuals from USA Network or whatever. But yeah, that's a pretty tough watch.
Didn't the original one come back? I thought the original was
it's
coming back.
Yeah, it's coming back.
Oh shit! And it's coming back for the spot.
This is actually good because I got to ask you this. There's another series, of course, that he produced, which is the Chicago series called One Chicago. Do you know about the Chicago shows?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
My dad
All right.
liked
How
at least
many
one of them.
episodes of the One Chicago franchise have aired? So all of those Chicago shows on NBC, I think they probably have a night now all to themselves. How many episodes of those shows have aired?
How many episodes of all of them combined?
All of them combined. Of the One Chicago verse. I was going to say the Chicago verse, but Chicago is like a real...
It's a real place.
It's a real place. It's funny. I went to Chicago a couple weeks ago, and Sophia's mom texted her, "Can you get me something from Chicago Fire?" And I was like, "What?"
Like a Dalmatian?
Like go to a fire station?
You just burn something and then bring it back? I burnt this in Chicago.
And we did we bought from a souvenir shop something that says Chicago Fire, but I told her we could have just bought it on Amazon. It's just a shirt that says Chicago Fire Department.
Hope she doesn't listen to this pod.
She won't. Here we go. John, you said 70 episode. Andrew, you said 200. No one gets a point. There are 557 episodes.
Technically, I didn't go over.
Fucking hell.
Of the Chicago.
Technically, I didn't go over.
What's the
and I'm
longest
closer.
season of that one of the Chicago? It's
I
gotta
don't
be Fire,
know.
right?
Are you ready for the average viewers of an episode of their shows?
My dad. and
My
that's
dad
it.
is probably
7 million.
Oh, shit.
They average 7 million viewers.
Most people watch primetime stuff, though, right? Like they don't.
I
watch,
guess
like,
so.
All the boomers,
Yeah.
baby, they don't know how
But
to
I'm
operate
thinking, like,
cable.
I don't know about
Streaming,
just
everyone's like,
boomers,
oh my
though.
God,
Like,
a million households watched it. Number one. And I'm like, there's 7 million people watching Fireman. Save.
Yeah, I mean that's
Shit,
some
that's
good,
wild.
That's some fucking
Remember
drama right
Rescue Me with Dennis Leary?
Yeah, I
Do you remember
that movie.
Backdraft?
there. Rescue
The movie?
911.
Ladder 49?
Okay, now we're getting in the weeds. Let's do a fire month. Here we go. Here's what's next. Name the 4 shows that make up the one Chicago franchise. This is how you know the movie we're talking about is bad. We're spending a lot of time on Dick Wolf. Like,
I know, exactly.
The proportions are kind of insane. We need to do an American Werewolf in Chicago. He's just like in Chicago. Yeah.
Werewolf in Chicago.
There are 4 shows that make up the one Chicago franchise. How about this? I'll give you a point for everyone you get right.
Damn, I don't know these.
So it's Chicago blank. You probably know a couple, but I don't know. I didn't
don't know
know
this fourth one.
I didn't
Hold
know
on.
that some of these existed, but it's very interesting.
So let me see what would the fourth.
You
one
know what?
be?
You need to do the backwards math. What
Yeah, I
are
know,
the
yeah.
what are the law enforcement agencies in Chicago?
I know, I can't even think of a fourth one.
Chicago Postman.
Yeah, I know.
Chicago Animal Control. And then if you look up Chicago,
Chicago
Animal
Parking.
Control, it's going to be like 300 episodes, 800 million watch viewers. You know, it's bonkers. I got to start watching TV again. The thing that 7 million viewers is insane to me per episode. That's like,
Yeah, that's insane.
golly. That's like America. America watches this show. Okay,
I
here we
don't
go.
know this.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I
Okay,
guess.
here is. Okay, let me go through the list here. Andrew guessed Paw Patrol, which is I lumped that into PD. Chicago PD. John guessed Chicago PD, Chicago Fire, Chicago MD,
Wait,
and
no,
Chicago Security. I'm gonna give you 2 points for Chicago PD and FD.
Damn. I thought it was the
Andrew,
same thing.
you guessed Chicago. Oh, my phone locked. You guessed Chicago Fire, which is yes. Chicago PD, and you did MD and Rescue as well. I'm going to give you 2 points for Fire and PD. But here are the 2 shows you didn't know about. Chicago Med, and I didn't give it to you for MD because MD means medical doctor. That doesn't count. And then Chicago Justice.
I have
You forgot about
No
Chicago
Justice
Justice.
system.
no knowledge of that one.
That's a bad. Yeah. Okay. Here's the next. He also has another franchise called FBI on
Oh,
CBS.
yeah.
Name the 3 shows
Jesus
that make
Christ,
up.
why did you do this?
Name the 3 shows that make up the FBI franchise or the FBI verse. The FBI verse. The FBICU. There are 3 shows on TV.
Federal Bureau
So-
Intensive Care Unit?
On fucking CBS.
This is on CBS. He jumped networks, and I bet he got paid like $1 billion to do this.
Oh my god, I have no fucking clue. Like, the
Should
FBI,
I Google what the viewership is? Because it's going to be insane. Like, what? This is why there's such a police state. How many shows has Dick Wolf made? Jeez Louise.
FBI fucking
On CBS. And you know what? Any listeners to this that are over the age of 40 will be upset at you for not knowing. Because they're going to be like, oh!
FBI was an old show back in the 60s, and then it was
Yeah.
just like came back, I
This
guess.
is a reboot. And also, you know, this has been they've been an organization since Hoover and the fucking... Okay, you all sent your guess? Oh, let me pull up I was trying to find the ratings, and
I just put random shows.
Okay, so
Hold on,
John
I haven't
guessed...
done it yet.
I'm just going to go through his guesses.
Okay.
There are only 3 shows. You guessed 4. I'm going to give you a point. John, because you got one right. You said
It's FBI.
FBI. You said FBI, Hawaii Five-0, CIA, and Homeland. FBI is
Oh,
definitely
that makes sense.
a show. Andrew, I'm not going to read what you guessed.
Okay, good.
I'm not going to read the last one. You said murder, so you thought FBI murder, FBI crime, and FBI something else. But no, the 3 are FBI, FBI Most Wanted, and FBI International.
Nope.
John, you tied it up. You're both tied now with 5. There's 2 more questions left, but I can stretch it out if we need to fill time. Dick Wolf went to private school with a president. Which president was it? He graduated in 1964. He went to private school. He was a classmate with a president. Dick Wolf was a classmate with an American president. Which one was it?
Dick Wolfen.
Ooh, damn.
I don't know. The president, huh?
Mm-hmm. You have. I mean, it's kind of maybe like you only really have a choice of 4 because the rest of them are like
old,
really
yeah,
old.
Just like.
Let's see. I wish I had written down the name of
the
school.
president.
No. I wish I had the answer. You both guessed Clinton. You're wrong. The answer is George W. Bush.
Damn it! I was gonna put a Bush because there's multiple Bushes.
Oh, that would have been hedging your bets. You got at least 2 in there.
Yeah. I don't like the hedge and the Bush puns that you're doing.
Hedging that Bush. Final question. This is for all the marbles. If there's a tie, well, first of all, the loser has to watch every episode of Dick Wolf content out there. What kind of shot does Dick Wolf hate and believes takes away from dialogue? And he actually doesn't include this in most of his TV shows. What type of shot, and I'm talking cinematic, what type of shot does Dick Wolf hate? He thinks it wastes time and it takes away from dialogue.
Oh my God, I fucked up. Hold on.
Damn it. I keep...
This is wild to me. This is the most insane thing. Oh my God, I just looked up the viewership for FBI. Oh, guacamole. Okay, what the heck is going on here? Why are we doing a podcast on stuff on streaming? We need to be doing Countdown to FBI. Just in case anyone wants to know, the average viewers for an episode of FBI on CBS is 12 million people watch every episode of FBI.
That's insane.
Is anyone what is happening? It is.
You want to do next fall or coming up next on Delphin Pod?
Yeah.
Watching FBI.
Watching FBI.
Yeah, hunting Dick Wolf.
Oh no, FBI. I'm kind of like, yeah. But I mean, I guess those shows are still being made and they're still really lucrative, money wise. So, Andrew, you get the point because Dick Wolf hates establishing shots.
Oh shit!
John, you guessed wide, which is close, but I guess
not a specific. Yeah,
Andrew got it on the nose. But watch an episode in Law & Order, there really aren't establishing shots at all. I could have
swore there was still a pan up shot of a courtroom or something, or like the outside of a courthouse.
Maybe sometimes, but a lot of times it's like
he doesn't direct.
It's a close. It starts with a close up of an eyeball.
Well, it doesn't mean he doesn't hate it if it's in there.
Yeah,
that's true.
Kind of. I got to watch these again. But anyone out there who's a fan of Dick Wolf, you're welcome. We finally got you some wolf content.
Yeah, some wolf content here.
And Daddy wanted for all the marbles.
Yeah. So, John, get yourself a subscription to the Wolf streaming. Yeah, I guess Peacock or whatever. Okay, let's talk about this movie again. We talked about the cast a little bit.
No.
I guess we can jump to the ending. Now, what are some other things that stood out? I think one thing I noticed, wild amounts of ADR in this. Like sometimes I was like, what is going on with the dialogue? Because the volume is changing and it's clear that they didn't say any of this. Does that make sense? Like it's they adjusted this later and threw in some jokes or something. It's I mean, this movie had a pretty sizable budget. I don't think it's a budget thing, I don't think it was a cheap. The budget of this movie was $25 million.
That's pretty big.
And they wasted it on the bulldozer at the end, mostly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Definitely the CGI on the werewolves and the bungee jumping scene.
It was probably expensive. The bungee jumping scene was hardcore suck ass.
Batman Batman and Robin came out the same year as this, so
they had way better effects.
They have a bungee jumping scene too.
Yeah, that one cost. Didn't that one cost like
probably 3 times?
Okay, I knew this was right, but I wanted to look it up. This movie cost the same as Everything Everywhere All at Once, and actually, due to inflation, it probably cost way more, right? In the 90s to have $25 million. I mean, I think that you're right about the cash grab part. This is like the whole point of the pod is IP, and this was an IP because it was a cult hit in the 80s. It probably did well overseas, which is why it kind of had a lot of funding from international production companies and stuff, and I bet it had a pretty wide release when it came out.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I used to work at a video shop, and this DVD was actually requested a lot. American Werewolf in Paris. Yeah, I think people who saw it, that year, they were probably youngins or something. Probably ended up developing because it is a cheesy type of it's a movie kind of in a trauma style where
it's pretty quotable.
Yeah, you've
got some wild quotes. Like I made a joke when they're in the Paris, on the Eiffel Tower. He was like, "Hey, you want to come drink some va?" Yeah. And I was like, "What is va? Is it vodka? Is it something else?
He didn't finish his sentence. That was part of the
one syllable. He saved one syllable by saying, "Do you want to drink some va?"
That's where the ADR. He meant to say vodka, and they just cut the.
We don't have time.
Yeah, they cut the.
No. Come on, we gotta get to the next thing.
The second half of that word.
Oh boy.
But I can see people kind of like liking this in a very like so bad it's good type of way. That obviously doesn't kind of that opinion doesn't fall to me. But I can see people kind of
so bad it's good.
Yeah,
thing,
some people can probably like it because of that. And like I said, it was kind of like a very requested DVD back in the day. So
it's a pretty gratuitous movie in terms of
very
nudity.
gratuitous, yeah.
Which we talked about before the pod, but kind of wild that
there's a very uncomfortable scene.
To calm down, you grab apparently
a woman's breast.
Yeah,
and it's like
it's just very horny.
It's a horny movie.
Horny movie.
It's
hardcore.
gratuitous in the
like an 80s sex type of way, sort of. Yeah, it's like that scene like that reeks of like Porky's or something.
Yeah.
Like,
he smells up a girl's butt like a dog.
Do you think those were?
he does.
Do you think they were in? Do you think those were earnest scenes? Like, do you think that somebody wrote that being like, "Oh, he needs to calm down right now," or "He's a dog, so he would do that"? Like,
I think it's just like, I mean, it's probably what you just said. It's probably
like I don't know what the intention.
I don't think there was. I obviously think there was written to be like, oh, someone's gonna find this funny, or it's cheeky or something. And it's like
butt cheeky,
butt cheeky. But it's obviously not that. I mean, I think watching it through the lens of in 2022 is obviously really bad. But even I can't imagine it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't not cringy back in the day.
And I guess that same year, another film with a gratuitous nudity came out, Titanic, and everyone loved that one. I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm not wrong.
You're not wrong.
Similar
actually,
scenes,
yeah.
but yeah, I think that this movie, I don't know if it definitely crosses that line of like it's a Killer Clowns from Outer Space, for example. I have a fun time watching, even though it's insane and kind of bad. Or Mars Attacks or something like that, where it's very satirical. I know that's like
those two movies are
like
twice
that's a satire, but like I don't know if this movie crosses that line where I would still watch it because it doesn't necessarily go all the way that direction.
It seems like a trauma or like a grindhouse movie at some point. Super low budget, even though it costs a good amount of money.
Yeah, surprising.
But yeah,
I don't like to call movies lazy, but it does feel lazy just watching it.
To be honest, it makes sense on why it took me 30 years to watch it.
Yeah. This movie lost. So this movie was nominated for
Razzies,
one of those types of awards, and lost to another movie that came out this year, Speed 2, Cruise Control.
Ah, yeah.
Another
Speed
sequel.
2, to be honest, I would take Speed 2.
Yeah, I might take Speed 2.
Got a little action.
It's got Willem Dafoe. That's enough for me to turn against this movie real quick.
Yeah.
They pick up a fake dead dog. This is the worst.
Oh, I hate it. Yeah, because he kills a cop, and it's kind of, I don't know. I mean, maybe it wasn't intentional, but they don't really get involved until he kills a police officer.
Did you notice that police officer spying on him steals that thing that makes noise?
Really?
Yeah, that he's sneaking up on him, and he's trying to play it cool, so he's shopping at a thing, and then he pushes a button of a toy, and it starts making noise, and they turn to him, and he puts it in his coat and runs away without paying for it.
Oh, I didn't know that. So that's pretty cheesy.
And I can't since we were talking about the police, I feel like the police were a much stronger presence in the first one.
They straight up kill him in the first one.
Yeah, and this one it's kind of lost, and I mean I guess they just get away too. And
right? all the police die in the orgy. Remember the guy's like, oh, maybe you guys should check out this 4th of July party.
Yeah, for Americans.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it's I don't know. It feels like it may be written for a foreign audience, totally.
Possibly, yeah. And I think it might.
They're making fun of Americans.
Yeah. Bungee jump off the Statue of Liberty.
Wasn't it a co-production between,
Buena Vista,
something like that? And I don't know. Shit, I lost the point. I was about to make something about it, but
but there's no points to make about it.
No, it's just I guess it because we watched a little bit of the first one after we were watching this just to kind of cleanse our visual palette.
Yeah.
The first one has a lot of comedy in it. Like I said, it was a really effective horror comedy.
Mm-hmm.
I think this one kind of just someone who this was obviously written over the course of 12, 13 years with 12 different screenwriters. But it seems like people just kind of watch whoever did this current draft, just watched it and be like, oh, it's a funny movie with scary parts, and then just kind of double down on very schlockish humor, really, and then
let's
just ran with it.
Let's keep the tourist aspect. Let's keep the seeing dead guys, or the people you kill. But then they definitely had an agenda of wanting to add to it, which we saw. And
humor that was modern at the time, which was kind of a little cringy.
It's weird because it somehow feels dated, but also looks a little more modern.
Yeah.
But it's, I don't know. Well, let's go around the horn and give our final thoughts on An American Werewolf in Paris, and where will that werewolf turn up next? An American
exactly.
Werewolf. Is there a follow up to this? Or
There is not. I think there was talk about a.
this was a franchise killer.
Yeah, there was talk about a remake happening when Max Landis was still around, and he's not. So.
Okay. Drew, what did you
Yes.
think about this movie?
I think that you should skip watching it and watch the first one, and instead just listen to us talk about it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Because
Yeah.
it really, this isn't, when I was saying it doesn't hop over the line, it's not a fun watch. Does that make sense? Like, it's not
I was waiting for something to be like.
It's not light at all.
Yeah.
Because of the lore stuff that they add in, they still want you to invest stuff.
Yeah.
So you can't just turn your brain
Interest.
off and have fun. They're like, no, you got to follow this.
Like, listen to the soundtrack instead. You'll probably have a better time.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I would say, I don't really do this for this especially this podcast, because sometimes we watch, not in a while. We haven't watched. This is probably our first schlockish movie that we've seen
Shit
in a while.
movie.
We
I
did
guess,
Troll 2, right?
Yeah, we did Troll
Troll
2.
2 is a classic.
Troll 2 is like not bad. Like, but yeah, it's like I'll echo what you said, Delphin. That this is just I was trying to find something fun in it. Each time something happened,
And it's
then as
tough.
the movie went on, it was kind of apparent that nothing cool is going to happen, which is very, very kind of heartbreaking for me when I'm watching a movie, because you invest. Well, for this podcast we had to watch it, but
Yeah.
like
When
you
you-
invest an hour in it or something, you're expecting at least some sort of payoff. And
Well, and imagine your
Nothing really
expectation
happens.
after watching in London, where it's like, holy shit, like the bar is set high.
yeah, but even then, like if you've seen, more like lower end movies that are still somewhat enjoyable. Like I don't know, I was telling y'all that I was watching a little bit of Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City on a plane, and I didn't hate it. Like I was actually having fun watching
That's
it.
the new one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was actually having fun
I haven't seen
watching
that
it.
one.
But I told him it's the Morbius thing, where Morbius has been built up to be the worst movie ever made. So when you put it on, you're like, I've seen worse.
Well, I thought
And
this
so
one
it's
was.
not as-
I
it's
knew
not
this
as
was going to
bad.
be bad, but this one still kind of shot below my expectations, which is like very rare. I guess
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to say. So I guess I will echo what Drew says, and I will recommend you. I mean, for the sake of if you want to listen to it and like,
It's on Peacock.
Yeah, if you want to relate to us talking about it right now, yeah, sure, give it a watch. But other than that, I would say like just skip this and just worship that first one and watch our next week's movie, Ginger Snap 2, because that's actually a better movie than this.
When
Actually,
this is
believe
the
it or
kind
not.
of movie that you put on with your friends on Halloween when everyone's had a few to drink,
Or
and
in the
you're making-
background, like,
and you're
just like-
making fun of it, and it's funny. It's like Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah. And yeah, there's elements of a lot of things in this. There's like parts of American Werewolf in London in
Yeah.
this. There's a little bit of Paris, Eiffel Tower, the catacombs, and then the Statue of Liberty, which France like gifted to us, I guess, at the end. But it never fully goes into anything. It tries to introduce some really big things that I don't know if I necessarily needed from a
Yeah.
like I didn't really need a world building thing that could spin off 100 other stuff, but like I think there are parts that are intentionally funny that aren't, and then some unintentionally funny parts in this movie.
Yeah.
But it's kind of all over the place. It's an interesting, I guess, like timepiece for the 90s where CGI was. I don't know if it was like budding still though at this time. I really don't think
'cause,
so,
like, you
because
had
the
Lost
second
World
Jurassic Park was coming out
this year
at the same time, but maybe it wasn't
the
as
Star Wars
accessible.
Special Edition was like fucking coming out.
I mean, an ILM for sure didn't work on this,
Well,
right? So-
Obviously not.
This was.
I don't know.
This
Shit.
is a better movie
Yeah.
than the Specialized.
And
Star
here's
Wars.
what I'll say: if you want a movie that is like
to watch this one over the special.
if you want a French production that is like solid and perfect in every way, watch anything from the Illumination Archives, Despicable Me, or the Minions. That's probably the best
I know
French
this is-
export ever.
But even above the French New Wave.
Yes,
itself,
yeah.
like-
Truffaut, get out of there. Get in, whoever directed Despicable Me. No, get in the guy who does the Minions' voices. That one guy that does it. It's
Yeah,
great.
he's the-
Banana. All right. Well, we hope that you enjoyed listening to us. And, I mean, watch it if you want. There's some elements you can laugh at.
If it's free out there, and then you have
It's
like
free.
you have a couple of beers, why
But
not? Yeah.
for sure, be on your phone. like,
Summarize it after a while. Like
pull
just
up
like,
your laptop, play a video game on the side, get your Switch out. Because I normally like to watch these movies and not be distracted. But I would say 15 minutes in, I whipped my phone out. I was like, okay, I'm good. But yeah, we'll go around the horn and I guess give our what?
I already gave my final thoughts.
I said plug. I'm going to do plugs. Unless you want more final thoughts.
I don't.
You didn't say for the after credit scene for An American Werewolf in Paris when. I don't know. They go to what other country? Germany.
American a werewolf in America.
That's what the Chicago. Get Dick Wolf on this. It's perfect. Dick Wolf makes werewolf movie. Come on. He probably is satisfied with the first one already.
Dick Wolf in
Dick
London.
Wolf probably is like, I love the ending of the first one.
Dum dum.
He's like, the right people win at the end of the first one. I'm just kidding. I don't know what Dick Wolf, what he stands for or whatever. But Andrew, what do you have to plug?
Nothing much. Check out the what's it called?
What?
What's our Star Wars one
called?
Also,
it's Halloween, so keep that in your mind. Right now, when this comes out, it'll be October.
Oh yeah, that's right. Countdown Strikes Back. Check out our backlog of Star Wars because who knows what's going on right now. Probably Bad Batch is probably season 2. We're probably balls deep in that. We probably finished Andor already. It was dope, and I'm saying this preemptively because we're recording super early a year before we're releasing this.
It's still hot. Well, it'll still be hot. In October, but still.
It's Star Wars. It's always hot, bitch. And then
no, it's like about temperature-wise.
Oh shit! Oh yeah, it's just now getting cool. Probably.
Maybe we'll see. We'll see if there's rolling blackouts.
Get your next boosters because everyone's back at school probably, and
October?
COVID's running rampant, turning you all into werewolves.
I wish I was a werewolf. John, what do you have to plug?
Check out Countdown to Infinity. I think there's still some Marvel stuff going on at this point.
Black Panther 2 is coming out soon.
Black Panther 2?
And there's another show.
There's a show, I think, coming out. I think Miss Marvel or She-Hulk should be out around this time.
Yep.
Yeah, listen to that. That's pretty cool. Listen to Director Showdown with Brent and Adam over there, the backlog over there. I don't know when their pod will be back, but I know that they have a backlog of seasons. And Dirt Sheet Radio if you guys like professional wrestling.
Damn it, he took my plug.
It's fine. You already did it.
No, I didn't do the Dirt Sheet.
Oh, but I'm saying your turn already.
Yeah, I know, but I was going to say I forgot.
You want to do other
I forgot my actual important
You know what?
one,
Let's go around the horn. Let's do another final thoughts on American
No, please no.
Yeah, and then other than that, be safe and stuff, and howl at that fucking moon.
Oh, you know what? We got to
stack up those points, baby.
Next episode, it's too late to do it in this one. We got to figure out some werewolf fun stuff that we could do. Maybe we can bite each other or whatever.
Manscape. There's no manscaping happening.
No, if there is, it'd be
let our
later.
bushes. Who's got the biggest bush?
Okay, let's do that. We'll no shave October.
And then that'll leave it to November, and we'll be werewolves by December for sure.
Oh, for sure. Well,
for Christmas, we're going to be fucking, ow!
Go to patreon.com/DelphinPod to support the pod and access all kinds of fun stuff. Listen to all the Delphin Pod shows. Thanks so much for listening. Next week, we will have another werewolf. Well, I don't know which one, but we will be
werewolfing
it. Another full moon.
Put on your pants.